So we'll get started on our November OIC meeting. George, our fearless co-chair, will be joining us a little later. But while we get ourselves situated, if you could put in the chat, what's your favorite cartoon?
Are we talking right now as adults or when I was growing up?
That is an excellent question. Why don't you put both? So I definitely growing up was Peanuts for me. Yeah, well, there you go. And that's sort of a comic strip is the way I think of it too. So yeah, it could be a television cartoon or a comic strip. And Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry is like surprisingly violent. And someday I will try Bob's Burgers. A couple people with that. Wow. One of our project managers likes Bob's Burgers, so the examples that Andrew used in the demonstration were all characters from Bob's Burgers. I'm like,
oh, I think I better watch that.
I just now started letting my kids watch it, and it was great. When we all love, my kids are 7 and 11, and we watch The Simpsons a lot. And now we're watching a lot of Bob's Burgers.
Cool. All right.
They don't even show the Chippendales. It's just in the chat, but they don't even show Chippendales anymore that I've ever seen. I still love those guys.
Huh. Yeah, there's definitely certain characters that have fallen out of favor for.
What was the name of the one that had Natasha and oh man,
that
they
was
were
very-
always
The Rescue Rangers?
no.
Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Rocky and Bullwinkle. Yeah. They were always putting somebody on the railroad tracks.
King of the Hill is really good. So, well, cool. Anyway, yeah, too bad George wasn't around for this. I think this was his suggestion. So, but we're
well, then we should say George of the Jungle. The cartoon George of the Jungle.
It is
yeah.
It's a good song. I'll say that. I think we're showing the age difference we might have from some of the other members in the school.
I think so. Yes, I think so.
Okay. Well, thanks for indulging in this. I'm going to do sort of a quick recap before our guest comes to join us, right, Dion?
Yeah, let me double check with her because I know she woke up not feeling well today. So,
oh dear.
Yeah.
Did you just put that on? Oh, there it went away. Thank you. So who was our guest going to be?
Interim Deputy Director for Organ Eligibility Partnership, my boss, Jillian Johnson.
And our sponsor.
And our sponsor, as we say here.
I'll behave.
Well, you don't have to do that. I have to behave. I don't know.
Oh.
So, just as a quick recap to give an update of where we're at on some of these things that you have put together. Although I do want to make a better habit of of following up to see how these things look when we're finished, because I know I was getting a presentation together of what we've done. As in theory, I'll be someone, maybe me, I forget, will be speaking to the legislature about this work, and I would like to pick out some highlights. And I was looking at it and I was like, oh, is this in? What's going on? So Andrew, I still haven't gotten back to take a look at the one you mentioned. But in any case, for right now, these are our work on which we will hopefully finish and put to bed today. Our work to when people cancel an appointment and they get that pop-up screen, we've got a couple things in the pipeline. And we'll hopefully finish up today the other parts of that. And this request 59 up income screens that only display income detail. Oh yeah. Simplifying our screens so if people already have an income, it's not, well, I'm trying to, Andrew, my brain is cloudy. Do you want to describe what we've done here? If you've got it on the tip of your tongue.
Is that I'm sorry, for what request?
Request 59,
Oh yeah. Yeah, so when someone has an existing income record, we're updating it to display on the income page just that existing income record and not additional fields to add more income until a user has intentionally selected to add an additional income. Because what we were seeing is when it's all displayed on the screen at once, it's not super clear that there's already an income record there. So we wanted to make it more of an intentional choice to either review what's already there, edit what's already there, or to intentionally add a new record. So one update with that actually that's good to share is we had requested it all as one update to update every income screen. In that way, there's 4 different income for one work item. So we're separating it into 4. The first one that will go in is earned income, and then we'll probably do unearned income, or sorry, self-employment income, then unearned income, then specific income. So that'll be a multi-part work item.
Cool. Thank you. When we created this presentation, I've forgot to include a screen for Jillian coming by, but since she's not here yet, we can at least start talking about our work here, and we'll have to hop out when she joins us. But here, how about this? I'll get out of this presentation mode and go over to our briefing sheet, which has all the fun details that we will need to talk about this. So, excuse me while I switch screens here. All right. Make this a little bigger. And as you can see, these are the 2 that we've already done. I'm going to scroll by them so we can get down to C and hopefully finish that one up. So completed. And so when someone hits this one, we've talked about this a bit, but where if someone just clicks the plain old cancel appointment and doesn't request to reschedule, what should we say? So we were close to finishing up. And
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I was just gonna add to that. I think really what we just need to decide on is the new text proposal. We were kind of going back and forth on what we wanted to include in the potential reasons. And I don't think we want to add anything more than what's here. And I think where we left the conversation last, we were talking about what we could remove to make this list a little bit slimmer. The option for need an interpreter was kind of contentious. Some folks felt like it was fine to include on there. Other folks felt like it was kind of redundant because at this point in the process, it would hopefully have already been identified that this individual needed an interpreter to help complete the appointment.
I had a question. Would this pop up if someone were to call like DHS or and cancel their appointment? Would the worker also have to select one of these options if they're canceling the appointment for a client?
That's not currently part of the proposal. This is just what's going to be on the client side. And then request 39, well, one of the requests we'll talk about here in a moment, is kind of what's going to show up on the worker side. And that would really just be, this reason or, what's been included in the cancel and reschedule from the previous work items that we worked on. So the workers on their side have a different process for scheduling and access to a whole scheduling calendar that has different functions. So this would just be client side.
so the question to the group is, when someone clicks on cancel appointment and not the cancel and reschedule, they will see if you do not complete the interview process or if you do not schedule an appointment to complete your interview process or to complete your interview, your benefits may end. Please tell us why you are canceling your appointment. And these are the options now. And so
I think need an interpreter should be erased because not sure what interview for or needing additional support really that could fall into that support.
Okay.
And plus we've already established the interpreter before here. So my thoughts is that it's rather redundant.
Okay. Anyone else have strong feelings either way about that one? We can go ahead and remove it if no one disagrees.
So what's going to happen if they check not available at giving time and date?
So with any of these, so I guess really the goal of capturing these reasons is right now what happens when an appointment is canceled. It just comes off of the worker side scheduling board and there's really no reason at all given. So it leaves workers who are trying to follow up or to schedule a new appointment because there's a number of tasks that are created that could be followed up on by a worker.
Okay.
But workers are having a challenging time with understanding why these appointments are being canceled. So
Okay.
the goal here is to kind of give them a starting place of
Okay.
like where to go from
All
there when trying to reschedule, or another process
Mhm.
that would occur would be cold calling. We do a couple cold call attempts with
Mhm.
unscheduled appointments.
any other thoughts or questions? Or we can just I'll channel my inner George and and ask if anyone has any other comments. Otherwise, we could just vote.
I would just maybe not available at the given date time. I will contact to reschedule because there is another option to change your time and date.
Right.
So they don't think that they'd have to cancel instead of reschedule.
Mhm.
So you wanted to add an addition there that says will call to reschedule?
Yeah, like so the client recognizes that they will call to reschedule.
Well, I agree. Well, if there's an option to already reschedule, why is that there? Because I think that could just be confusing having it there.
Not only that, but who is will call? Will that the client's call or will the worker call?
Yeah,
It's a good point. So I guess the first concern raised there was that this is redundant to the other cancel option, which is cancel and call me to reschedule.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess before we move forward with the will call reschedule being confusing, does the group feel that this can just be removed entirely because we have a separate option for that?
yeah. And I'm just as a reminder, I'm gonna grab this and put it next to the screen, just as a reminder here, what they're seeing. They've clicked on this cancel appointment. And yeah, it does. I mean, it seems like if they
Yeah.
weren't available at that time, they would have clicked the middle button.
Exactly.
So I think removing it makes sense to me.
Mhm.
Does anybody disagree with?
I don't
removing it?
disagree.
Okay.
And I'm looking at not sure of what interview is for, and I'm thinking that we should put may need additional support.
Okay.
So the first one no longer wants benefits, withdraw my application. It won't actually withdraw the application, correct? It would just, you pass the interview date, and if you didn't do it, you're denied. Because that kind of sounds like, I mean, there might be other people on their case that have other benefits. Not sure.
Yeah, this action alone, like indicating that alone, won't withdraw or cancel their case. It's just kind of I think the thought is to just indicate why they're canceling is that they no longer want benefits. I think mostly that would probably be used for someone who is applying for the first time, at least in my head. When you have an active case, there's a option on the dashboard to request your case to be closed. Outside of having an appointment. And I think, I guess in my mind, someone who is renewing benefits or requesting new benefits might not select that option. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
But yeah, to answer your original question, that alone is not going to cause the application to be withdrawn or the case to be closed.
So then if it's not going to withdraw actually, then, why have withdraw? Instead say no longer want to apply for benefits.
Okay.
Or file for benefits, whatever the language is that you all use.
I would say apply for benefits
Mhm.
would
Okay.
be more
All right.
widely understandable.
I just think withdraw my application just sounds so final.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
my-
a good point.
Mhm.
Well, it sounds like an action is going to be taken after you press this button that your
Yeah.
application will be withdrawn, which it wouldn't.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's pretty clean.
Yeah, I have a question. Moved
I
out
bet.
of the area. Are we saying moved out of the state or moved out of, I mean, if you move from one community to another?
Oh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
Yeah, I think maybe that's a good point too. Moved out of the state might be.
Mm-hmm. Make more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because yeah, moving to a different area in the state shouldn't affect
Mm-hmm.
your overall eligibility. Can affect certain parts of things like work requirements and
Mm-hmm.
such. But all right. Any other input, I guess, on the remaining cancel options we have here before we decide? And then if not, I guess, how did people feel about moving this forward?
Thumbs up from April and Sydney. MJ. Susan, Vanessa, Mariah, Brandy,
Oh, me too.
Cool.
I can't find my thumbs up.
Okay, good.
Just one additional thing. I don't know if we're going to be caring about people who are not wanting to complete the process because of fear of immigration status.
That could be the other reason,
It could be other reason, could be.
because that's not something you're going to want on the app, you know.
I guess
Yeah.
it could be captured under that.
Yeah, I don't know how many people would self-disclose that, I guess. Not that it shouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
considered.
because they already have the program, or they're already, well, no, not necessarily if they're getting an interview, I suppose. Hmm.
I mean, it could just be with other reason not specified.
Yeah.
I think with that, it's probably like the need interpreter, hopefully already who applied and before the interview already have information about, that.
Are you talking about asking for an interpreter?
Well, I mean, I'm saying that, that for the immigration reason, they may cancel the appointment, but I'm saying it's kind of like needing an interpreter. Hopefully the applicants already have that information, just like already request the interpreter. And we don't have to write that here again for that reason. But anyway.
But if you think we need to write it there, we could do may need additional support / interpreter.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm saying that we don't need to write that again.
Okay, so
here.
you agree with that? Okay.
Yes, I agree with that. And yeah, I don't think we need to write about the immigration reason here either. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right. Oh, okay.
All right. I feel like we lost someone. But all right, well, I think everyone is on board then.
Yep, we'll get that one logged.
Yep.
Yay.
And then before we go on to 35D and 35E, we were going to jump ahead to to both.
39, I think. Yeah.
9, yeah, oops, I rolled right by it.
Yeah, so this one, since we're starting to get the prior ones logged and having information coming from the applicant side, we wanted to get this one hopefully approved, because this is what they're going to see on the worker side. So this is identifying how and why the customer canceled their appointment, and they'll have will prevent staff from having to research this information and allow them to just quickly and clearly respond to cancellations, seeing the notes and the reason for the canceled or rescheduled appointment on the worker side. So that's pretty much it. It's pretty straightforward. This is a mock-up of what a screen might look like, where it would show it says reason for rescheduled appointments here. That would be like where the drop down selections from the one we just approved would show, or in the notes field over here to the right of the screenshot. That's where we would see, I think it was 35B is the one where we're asking them for a preferred date and time. That'll be what the individual has put there. So really just the display on the worker side is what we're hoping to get approved with this one. Any questions or actually, I think there might be, if you scroll down to the next page, there might be, yeah, this would just be what it would look like if it was just a cancel. It would just show the cancellation reason and no notes to the side, unless it was the final option on that drop down list where there was reason not specified, then that would show up in the notes there. So any questions, thoughts, concerns on this one? Might be an easy one to get approval on. Does everyone feel good about this one?
Yeah, I was just saying while I'm mute that, this is a sort of an interesting one, because what we're doing here is on the worker side. It's not what the public sees, but since this is what's being, the ones we are working on is going to get fed into this notes field and appointment status and things. That's why we have to have it here. Yeah, go ahead.
Could you enlarge it just a little bit?
Sure. How's that?
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, okay. Okay. Okay.
So yeah, rescheduling.
Oh.
And then what we were just talking about, they just request to cancel. They'll get the reason.
Canceled per portal. Okay.
Yeah, and like these are mock-ups, so they're not showing the actual reasons that we collaborated on yet, but that's where we would see the results from.
What's the percentage, and I don't mean actual, but of people that are unable or don't want to use a computer? Do we have a large amount of people that come into the office because they just don't feel like they can do this on their telephone?
I don't have an actual number on that, but there does exist a population, I think, that.
Would you say that they are elderly people, or would you say that they are perhaps have language barriers?
I think so. Again, a lot of this is going to be my assumptions based on my prior experience working in offices. I would say both of those populations, both non-English speaking, elderly, and then I would also say some unhoused folks who don't have access. I think
don't have the connection.
Yeah, I think a lot of times if they're connected with resources in their area or have a mobile device that they're using, they might be able to do that. But I think also it's kind of been ingrained or trained into that community to just go into the office when they need help. So
well, when we originally designed this program, we said we were going to have computers in the office available for them to do their own work because they didn't have anything eligible. Did that happen?
There are a lot of, I mean, I want to say every office I've been to, I haven't been to every office in the state, all have some sort of computer application process that's available in the lobby.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's a full computer lab or just a single computer, kind of depends on the area. I think what we're working on is training more staff to hiring and training more staff to be specific in a role that functions as a support staff that works those computers to help folks apply with it. But the computers are there and have been there for a while, but sometimes I think individuals need help working through the application with a staff member, and I think that's the part that we're working on improving and doing better at.
Thank you for that answer.
Yeah, it's part of our work is just to, for those who want to use the computer, it's, you know, because it offers a lot more flexibility. They don't have to go to an office. You know, we want to make it as functional as possible, but there's always going to be people who want to do the phone call, who want to come into the office too. And that's fine. Well, does everyone understand this? You know, it's tied to what we were just talking about, at least, you know, this part right here and the previous rescheduling items. It's part up here. So are we good to submit this and log it? So I will channel my inner George and start calling out names then. Okay, thank you, Judith, Susan, Vixen. Thank you, Vanessa and Mariah. I know, Mariah, you got bumped out. Yep, good to see you. Thank you. Okay, well, I'm sort of curious too, Andrew, about the note here. See if we can do this as a single work item, but I guess we'll update our group when we figure that out.
Yeah, Sam and I work pretty closely with that group of Deloitte workers who work on applicant and worker portals. So usually if we feel like it has a chance of going in as one, we'll just submit it, and then they'll come back to us with the proposal of how they can fit it in as one, if they need to make modifications to it, or if it can be separated into different requests.
How long does that take?
So as soon as this meeting is over, I can get it submitted, and then I think within the next. So right now, all of our new requests for work items are being scheduled into next February. So that gives us a little wiggle room of when it needs to be the approach needs to be finalized. So I would say for something that gets scheduled for next February, it would probably be like a month from now or so that Deloitte is actually starting to work on it. So sometime between now and the next month, I would probably have heard from Deloitte if our original proposed request was going to be modified in any way or separated. So yeah, about a month until we hear back from them, and then what would that be? About 3 months until it's actually implemented. Part of that difficulty is we have during the holidays in December, because of that, we only have one build in the month of December, and usually we have 2 separate builds each month. So we've had a bit of a backup.
All right. Well, it didn't look like there was any objections to moving forward with this. Thank you. And we will go back up to 35D. Where we want to send a confirmation when people cancel and or reschedule. Andrew, I'll let you take it away here again.
Yeah, so currently there's no clear, other, when the action is taken, it brings the worker, or sorry, not the worker, the customer and client individual, brings them back to the main manage appointment screen and shows that that appointment is no longer there. So in that sense, it's confirming that you selected this appointment, you canceled it, and now it's been removed from your upcoming appointments. But beyond that, we don't really have a current process of confirming the action that was taken. So what this is proposing is one of two things. Ideally, we would send an email to that individual, to their email that's linked to their one online account, confirming that the action that they took, what they had requested, whether it was canceled or rescheduled. The complexity that's involved in creating a new email and the process of sending that out, there's a good chance that that's greater than the effort of a work item and may not be able to separate into different work items. So the alternate proposal there is that at the very least, it would populate a notice in their message center, which is where you view notifications and things like that on the online portal. So at the very least, it would show a notice in their message center that they could view, confirming the action that they had taken.
And this text that we have is just something we sort of whipped together. I haven't looked at it in a while.
I believe that's something, I didn't do it, so I'm assuming Sam put that together. So yeah, it seems pretty straightforward. You've requested to cancel your scheduled appointment and be contacted to reschedule. We'll contact you to reschedule. Receive a phone call from that number, please answer it. If we're unable to reach you, we'll schedule your appointment based on the times and day you told us are best for you. So that seems like one specific to cancel and reschedule. I don't know if there's another, if there's anything else proposed below that, James, if you want to scroll down real quick.
Oh,
Do we have the ability to, I can't remember, so please forgive me if this is something we've already discussed, but do we have the ability to just text them?
We have SMS text notices for
Okay.
different things. We can propose that as part of this. I'm not sure the amount of effort it takes to.
Yeah, that I just wanted to make it easier, not more difficult. So forgive
Yeah,
me.
no, it is a good idea. I can explore that if that's
Mhm.
if that's something that the group wants to do. I think that would kind of fall into sending an email that might be a little too complex for just a single work item, but if it's something we can do, I think it's a good idea.
This sounds duplicative. So you have requested to cancel your scheduled appointment and to be contacted. We will contact you to reschedule. Like that sounds like it's repeating itself. So I think I would either remove one of the two rescheduleds. Yeah, we will contact you to reschedule.
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
delete that there.
that's a good catch.
Well, she just kind of threw that together as a thought. So yeah, it was a good start.
Yeah.
I think that makes it a bit more clear and
Mhm.
reads easier as well.
I like the short sentences.
Was there any other examples below that, James, for like just a can just
We go into the next
okay,
one.
that's it. Okay.
But I'm sorry, someone replaying the text conversation. So we also text people, but that's not part of this work item because it's already done, or?
I think Judith was asking if we have the ability to, and I thought that was a good idea. I don't know if so when we've kind of talked about this one in our planning sessions, Sam has I think some more experience than I do with trying to get work items created that are creating entirely new emails or
Mhm.
text or push notifications for the mobile app. And that the level of effort required in doing that is typically over the effort of a work item. So I would think it might be asking too much, but I'm happy to see if that's, you know, when I submit the request, I can include sending an SMS notice if the group thinks that that's worthwhile. I think one thing.
I'm just thinking about a friend of mine who is a disabled vet, and he does text, but he does not do email.
Yeah. So again, I think it's a good idea. One thing to note is that to receive texts, an individual has to have opted in. There's an option when setting up the account and applying to choose to opt in to receiving text. So they would only receive it if they had selected that. I think we try to encourage people who, in particularly like your friend, who prefer to communicate that way, to indicate that they're opting in so that we can do what works best for them. And I know, just to kind of elaborate on the text part a little bit, we do send a text when an appointment is scheduled, the initial scheduling of the appointment. So I do think it's a good idea.
Yeah,
to kind of continue that thread in the process of canceling an appointment, if that's something we're able to do. I think I keep having additional thoughts. Another thing to keep in mind is we have a CR proposed that this group approved, that is to add the option to manage appointments from the one online portal itself. That will be coming, as we've discussed before. CRs take quite a while. It'll be coming in a couple of years from now, most likely. But that is something we would definitely have the option of including some of these things that might not fit into work items here, like, you know, text and email responses to managed appointments. That would definitely be able to be included in that work item that we've already pushed forward. Or sorry, change request that we've already pushed forward. Any other questions, or do we want to take a vote on this?
Looks good to me.
Great. This, and just so I'm clear, I'm sorry, I'm slow sometimes, is when they click, you know, cancel and reschedule, you know, they'll get this message. If they just hit cancel without the reschedule, do they get a different message, or are they getting this message?
So I think that's actually, it's a good point. That is the final line of the new functionality paragraph, is do we want similar functionality? I think it makes sense. I guess the way I've been thinking of it is, regardless of which option they selected, we would give them some sort of confirmation that that was the action they had taken. So I think it makes sense.
I mean, but if
so yeah, I think it would just be remove it if. Yeah, I think just removing that. Well, yeah, I think we would need more specific language around, like, let me type something here real quick.
Yeah. Because, yeah, it feels like we need a slightly different option for people who,
So maybe what I just put in the chat and then, swap that for the first paragraph. And then include that as well below it.
yeah, and then, the hello individual also, but.
Yep.
I'm confused. I thought the just cancel was the one we worked on right before this, where they had a drop down of the reasons why they canceled.
Yeah, I think what we're separating out here is a separate confirmation message for someone who has just canceled, and as opposed to someone who has canceled and requested to reschedule.
So I'm gonna scroll up just a little bit here.
Did that clarify that for you, Vanessa? Or are you so confused?
So they're gonna make the selection where, say, I don't think I qualify, and then that final one is gonna come up that you just put, correct?
Well, this is what would be either.
So if
this
I
would
select cancel and call me to reschedule.
Yep.
You're gonna get, you have requested to cancel your appointment. We will contact you to reschedule, blah, 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 blah. If I select cancel appointment, I'm gonna see the one previously. No, then we're gonna see the other one that we just worked on, no? So scroll up.
There's two things going on, but.
well, when you
Okay, my understanding was, like, say you click, sorry, I gotta jump around.
yeah, you
Click
would
the cancel appointment.
these are kind of like. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, you click the cancel appointment and
And then you see this one,
on the
not-
screen. But then shortly thereafter, you will then also in your message center get this message. So you have a
Correct. Yeah,
record of it.
these are kind of like after the fact confirmations. Like you finished taking the action, you finished either if you've canceled and rescheduled, you've selected cancel and reschedule, you've provided the preferred time to contact you, you've submitted that, or if you're canceling, you've provided the reason you're canceling and you've submitted that. After all of that is completed, you would receive one of these two messages as kind of a confirmation to like, hey, this was the action that you've taken. This is kind of the next steps for you. Either we're going to call you or you've just canceled and you might not be eligible if you don't complete your interview. So it's kind of just a further step to make sure that people really understand what action they have taken.
Got it.
Yeah, this is going to be sort of in their permanent record. These things, the stuff we were working on earlier is just what they see in the moment.
Any other thoughts or questions on this one?
Are we good?
Oh, that was my stomach growling for a second.
You see that large tail going by.
I occasionally have to go on mute because she really gets talkative.
That was amazing, Andrew. Thank you for that.
All right, I see Brandy and Vixen it. If people put their thumb on screen, maybe I didn't see, but
I'm a thumbs up.
okay. Mariah, Vanessa. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for going down these rabbit holes. There is one last part of 35E, which is a little odd. Well, not odd, I should say. Should we do this in the mobile app? And Andrew, you want to say a few words about that?
Yeah, so currently there is no function to manage appointments within the mobile app. So this one kind of comes with the caveat that this may not be able to be done within a work item, and it kind of turns into a change request if it's too large. But this would essentially be proposing to take all of these updates that we're making to the existing manage appointments functionality from the web portal and have that added to the one mobile app. So just what currently exists, the base manage appointment function, as well as these new functions that we've added in there. So if we want to add that to the Oregon One mobile app, we'll kind of explore the possibility of that.
And if it can be done, it's probably going to be a few work items too.
I would say, yeah, it seems like a pretty large change to me. And so I guess that's kind of that's the approach we'll take. Is this something that can be done in a few different work items, or is this something that's going to have to be a change request? We already have an absolutely from April.
Yeah, thanks, April.
I agree there. Great. And I think anything we can do to increase the functionality of the mobile app will be great to get more users there, because I think it's a great tool, but it is limited in what can be done.
Well, any other concerns? Welcome, George. We're finishing up on 35 here. Should we put these changes that we've talked about for 35 of them in the mobile app? Sounds like we may need some mock-ups or something at some point, but any concerns about moving forward with at least trying these out?
Hi, James. Hi, everybody. What is the results that you got back so far, James, on this?
Hey, we're about to go into break here, so
Okay.
so I can walk you through some of that in just a moment. Yeah, April, that's a good point. Brandy, Vixen, you have any concerns about the mobile app? Susan and Vanessa? Okay. Great.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, I promised George a walkthrough here, but we will take 10-minute break. We can be back, I guess, 11:12.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. And we're back. So, I wanted to, coming from the break, I was going to talk about our scheduling. And I guess I'll go ahead and share.
So as I take it, James, we're already done with 35C and D and 39 right now, right?
Correct.
Okay, so that will be in play when?
They probably won't get scheduled till January and February is my guess. Depends on how many work items they end up being. I don't know, Andrew, you probably have a better guess than I do. I might be optimistic when I said that.
I think we're looking to February now for new work items scheduled, but is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
just coming back. Yeah, so February, keeping in mind that work items are also coming in from many other sources. So we get a certain amount allotted that can be prioritized for us. So we'll get in what we can and kind of go from there. But yeah, as of right now, February is where we're at. And there are 2 builds in February. So there may be kind of earlier February or later.
Okay.
So, here's a big one. Well, 6 of you, or 7 of you, I should say, had actually filled out the poll before this morning. And what these numbers here represent is all the people who said they couldn't make that time. And we have a very popular, busy group of people. And I mean, I did limit us to only to the second week, just because I figured we needed some boundary, but that's not necessarily, we have to limit ourselves. But among the 6 people who completed the questionnaire, there was one time, it's a lunchtime, but there was a one time that no one had a conflict. So I am curious if there's anyone in this group here who has a conflict on second Mondays from 11 to 1 o'clock.
No conflict here that I know of so far.
April, you have a concerned look.
It's just my face today.
Okay. Uh, let's see.
Ruth, don't you have Mid Valley on Monday at that time?
No,
No? Okay.
we're changing it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Are my ears deceiving me? Does no one
No, I
have
don't think
conflict
I-
at this
Mhm.
Monday time? I know my colleagues will be thrilled to work through lunch.
They can eat while they're talking to us. We won't mind.
If you only knew how many meetings Judy and
Judy
I
and I
sit through
we ate
with
through crackers.
Let's see who here.
Yeah. Monday, 11 to 1 is good. Monday's like my only free day. Now I no longer have that. But after 1, okay. After 1 on Monday.
Now, James, here's a question for you.
Yeah,
If by any chance a holiday is held on a Monday,
yeah.
are we going to not have a meeting on that Monday if a holiday shows up? Or is it going to be on another month?
That
I'd
isn't.
say I would say we'd skip a week.
I mean, we do, I sort of purposely picked second week because there's fewer holidays seemingly. Although,
Mhm.
This month, November would not have worked actually because of Veterans Day, of course. But you avoid the whole Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's thing. You avoid July 4th. And so
We're one of the few groups that still meets in December.
because I like you guys so much.
I know. Oh, yes. I can see that expression. Where's that cat? I'm trying to talk to him. He knows the truth.
Well, the meeting I was just on, that was our last meeting here in November.
Mhm.
Well, given how other meetings, we'll miss a month or so, I probably means that we can sacrifice a month once in a while for a holiday. So I'm just happy that this worked out. I hope the people who aren't here it also works for, but there you go. But cool. All right. Well, that was easier than I worried it was going to be.
So will you send out, I mean, like immediately?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I'll
Meeting
send out
reminders.
the Zoom. Well, I get the Zoom invites together, and Angel will probably send out the calendar invites. And so just I'm hoping your second Mondays, all the fun you have will be reserved for us.
Now, I'm looking at my calendar and
Mhm.
it says that we have on January 1st an Oregon Online Improvement Committee planning Microsoft's team meeting at 11 a.m.
Well, that's
on the
gonna happen.
1st. That's not going to happen, is
That's
it?
not going to happen.
Not going to happen. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm taking that off.
Yeah. So we will with the new year coming, we may there'll be all sorts of things. I'd love to recruit some new members, especially for the spring. Maybe time for new co-chairs. There's all sorts of fun that will be had in 2025. So we'll be recruiting in in various different things. But thank you for all your work on all these things. And so oh yeah, I need to give you I'll move to the next item on the agenda then and give you an update on what happened to our change requests. And I want to thank you all for quickly responding to that out of the blue poll request, because here we've been avoiding these things on the agenda. And I was going to get a nice picture of it, but I didn't set that up. But in any case, what I can tell you is that by a whisker, number 22 here came out ahead. And then these two, 20 and 14, if different ways of looking at it, came in second place. So 4045 down here didn't get any votes, but 22, 20, and 14 were all had similar levels of support.
Mhm.
So at this point, if you're able to follow my ramblings here, you may be wondering, well, if 22 came in first, what the heck is going on here? Why is it not on this strategic map? This work that is being put together, this plan to make change requests. Well, I brought it up, I pushed it along, and you know, I will say Samantha and Andrew predicted this outcome. I got a lot of pushback from the policy teams who were concerned that, well, you can't use this kind of language. The feds say you have to say either you have it or you don't. And so this is a hill that you know, that can be climbed, but it's going to be a tough one. And let me also give one other bit of context on all this. We've got for the YouTube audience out there, I'll just say we've got a real backlog and a real problem with the number of change requests that are coming in and the amount that actually can go into the system. There is a lot. You've got, you know, Ruth, George, and Judy, you know about a lot of the medical changes that are coming through. That is just part of it. There's just so many that are coming through waiver requests, through other things that they are like, hey, if we don't do this, you know, the federal government will say we're out of compliance and we're leaving out these hundreds or even thousands of people from benefits. So there's a lot of change requests coming from medical. And so the SNAP team, which serves only 800,000 people, are like, hey, what about us? We need to have some change requests. We need to have, you know, some expansion. We're looking at, you know, George, I know you were looking at the restaurant meals, you know, having hot meals available for SNAP. That's a change request, and that goes in. And so the calendar in April, you're going for high comedy today. And so there's a lot of push, a lot of requests, and for SNAP, and then you still have childcare. It's like, hey, right now there's you know, we have a wait list and there's no way to toggle it. Either we turn it on or we turn it off. That's a change request to allow, you know, if there was some more money came in but not enough to wipe out the whole change request, could we turn off some things? It can't be done right now unless their change request goes through. You know, there's just an amazing number of them, which more than half of them, I'm not even sure what they do, frankly, because it's pretty complex. But they're working on a process to improve that. But we did get these two. And that doesn't even mean they're on the calendar, though. Let me temper whatever expectations you have. Right now, I think I've already said a few times here, 2025 is completely booked up. Well, now 2026 is already mostly booked up. And it's unfortunate, and I'm frustrated, and it's difficult to say, hey, we should make things easier for users, you know, and make that argument. Like, you know, for instance, allowing people to do what you can in a lot of nice websites, schedule your own appointment. Right. Well, that, you know, that would be really nice. That would be great. But then someone, SNAP or medical, comes along and says, well, if we don't do this, you know, 3,000 people aren't going to get coverage. It's hard to push that argument. And so I would encourage you, if you have legislative or other contacts, to say, hey, we're trying to do these things, but they're not getting prioritized. You know, I will work hard to prioritize these things, but I wouldn't mind any other help too. So, Ruth.
Well, I agree with April. I think that we need to be sharing with our own federal legislators what this entails and what we're doing and how many hours it takes to set this up. Because I don't think they have any concept of what's happening on the ground. And I think it's responsible for us to make sure all this information gets to them. I don't know what OHA would say on this, but
Yeah, I think thank you, Ruth, because I mean, if you could calculate how many hours we have spent in meetings, and then you have the staff, but then you have the change requests, you know, do they know how many hours that this is being, that people are dedicating to this to do it? And I would say they don't know a clue of this.
I
Maybe
would agree.
invite them-
Go ahead.
Maybe we should invite them in and see what we do.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, you can do that, but
If a person sometimes can see what the group is doing, maybe they wouldn't push so hard.
Oh,
George, I didn't even know what we were doing until we've been doing it for 6 months. You know, it's not something you just step into and go, oh, that's what you're doing. I mean, this takes a while for people to really understand.
and this is a big elephant, you know, the old story of the
Yeah.
blind people and the elephant. You know, I've been working this elephant for a while, and I can guarantee you I know very little of the of the size and scope of it too.
Mhm.
So I'll say, for those of you who have been around since day one, this group, in our very first meeting, State Senator Patterson joined us. And in December, there'll be at the legislative days, there will be a presentation on OOIC. I think I'm giving it, or at least someone from here will be giving it. So we'll have a chance to talk about this group. And
Will you let us know that day and time so that maybe we can either attend on Zoom or attend in person?
yeah, absolutely. That'd be
But
great.
what I'm thinking of is the federal level,
Yeah.
because it's the federal push that causes all this. And so I think we need to be educating our federal legislators.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'll put a little more context, you know, and I make a popular it's a pastime for me to complain about how few changes we can make, but in the system because of different capacity. But there is another, you know, it's not just staffing time and testing and all this that make these updates.
You're breaking up, James.
Shoot.
You're breaking up.
Okay. I'll just, hopefully you can hear me. But I'll just say that, you know, in addition to the limited capacity we have for changes in our contract with our contractor, we do have a workforce that has been undergoing a lot of change as well. And while I usually don't say this part, I should point out that there are limits in how much we change, partially because of our contract, partially because of our ability to test to make sure these things can be updated. But there's also limits in that every time we make a change request to make a significant change, that means our entire staff have to understand that change as well. So that's part of the reason we've slowed down a lot of these changes. So it's frustrating, but
Personally,
go ahead.
Personally, I feel that you and your crew has done a terrific job of what's been handed to you and handed to us. So things could be a little bit more difficult, and we're doing a pretty good job at going at the pace we're at.
Well, I appreciate that, George. And if anyone has any critiques about this work and stuff too, we want to hear that. It could be here, it could be emails or whatever. I'm always happy to talk with any of you one-on-one. In fact, I need to be doing more of that too.
But I'm hearing other committees want to know more. And, you know, each time they talk about it, then I tell them to get in touch with you so that you can do a presentation on it. And I don't know if they're getting in touch with you or not.
No, I know there's a little bit of interest and especially there's interest on how the one system works overall, in which case then I draft Andrew to come along and help give a presentation, which he has been doing very ably. So I can give the overview and then Andrew gets to do the nitty-gritty details.
Yeah, because most people do not have any concept of what it takes. And I think we need to get it out and to the other subcommittees for them to have a better understanding.
Ruth, you're the chair for the advisory council at O4AD, aren't you? This would be a great presentation for the O4AD. And I don't just mean the advisory councils. This would be a good presentation for the O4AD.
The plenary.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those people need to hear this because sometimes we do have at least 2 legislatures that attend that. So, foot in the door.
Yeah, if any of you have a forum that would benefit from a presentation or me coming by, I'm happy to talk to you and schedule something up.
Well, I know the subcommittee of MAC, of the consumer subcommittee, had asked about getting information from you. And that's when I told them they needed to contact you to just come and share. And now that I see they haven't done it, I'll get on it.
Right.
James, I don't know if you're aware of this, but three more new committees are being added. One for the HERC, for the disabled. Another disabled committee being added to the Carina. And another disabled committee being developed somewhere else medically. So.
Yep. I didn't know that, but that's good to know. And everyone else as a member of this committee, you have your other worlds, whether it's childcare and Magi Medical and things. I know there's activity going on in your worlds, your work worlds as well. Yeah. Well, let's
what else is on the agenda?
we do have another work item request that I think we briefly talked about before. I'm going to switch over to the briefing sheet so we can discuss that. I can find it. What was it? Is it 60 or 50? Maybe there was a typo there. Let me see.
It was a 60.
It's 60. Yeah. Sorry about this. Okay. Let's see. Oh, Dion just sent a message saying that did we skip something?
Yeah, we have item 50, which is the ERDC waitlist that was in the pending request.
Oh,
I wasn't sure if we were pausing or
No,
I missed it because
I think I just forgot about that one. That's all. Thanks for catching that because we have talked about this one before, so we should really talk about this one next. Maybe it got squeezed out of the agenda for some reason, but yeah, we definitely spent some time. We should be able to finish this one up today.
Please remind me what the initials mean.
Employment-related daycare. So this is our childcare subsidy program for working parents. April and Sydney know this well. And let's take a look at the,
Hey, James.
Yeah.
You're kind of breaking up again. Maybe take off the camera, help your bandwidth a little bit.
okay. I'll do that. Okay, so here's our screenshot. Let me, oh yeah, this is all about the ERDC waitlist. And I know this is a big, busy screen with micro print here, but the idea was to, geez, sorry about that. Create another table for childcare, under childcare assistance, and it'd just be describing your waitlist status. And last time we talked about this very confusing list of possible positions and of possible waitlist statuses, so to speak, whether active or inactive, and tried to come up with something that was a little more understandable to the user, to the applicant. And I think we talked a little bit in a prep meeting. And Vanessa has a question in the chat too, before we dig into this.
Yeah, so Vanessa, I did look, Sydney sent me some examples, and I looked more into it. There definitely is at times a delay in what is displayed after a family has been connected, and that's because there's a process in a few different ways of how that would be displayed on the dashboard. So once it's updated and connected, that information is sent from our legacy systems back to one. And there's one of two ways. Either a batch is processed that should be running nightly. And once that batch is processed and an update is run to the system, that should show what's correctly displayed. Or what the connection that's displayed should be showing what's correct in the system. And the other way is if eligibility is run on that case after that information is received back in one. So I did receive a number of cases that at the time they were first sent, I was looking at them, they weren't showing connected. And then once I went back in, it was probably a couple weeks later, I didn't check the next day, but all of the cases I was sent as examples of ones that weren't displaying correctly are now showing that the family is connected. So from what I can tell, it's working correctly. There sometimes is a small delay after it's been connected, but I haven't seen any lingering delays. I think one instance where that might happen is if a case was remaining in progress as the status for a length of time, which could be if a case was pending or something like that. But I don't think there should be any long-term delays. If you have any cases that you're working on that, or if you or anybody have any cases that are working on that, someone's been connected for quite a while and it's not still displaying what their connection status is, then please share that with me and I can look further into it.
This sounds like, and apologize everyone, that we're sort of talking about an older ERDC work item that we're pretty excited about, but I guess it just takes a while for the status to get updated. Is this going to be a consistent problem, or is this something that's going to improve?
Well, I guess what I'm saying is I don't know that I haven't seen any case that it is necessarily a problem. It's just an unfortunate part of the system because of the way that childcare billing and connections are handled in our legacy systems and what is displayed in our one system and the way that those systems communicate with each other. So I guess, like I said, from what I can tell from the cases that I was sent, everything seems to be working as best we can make it work right now. That being said, there may be some outliers that aren't working that way, and I would encourage people to send more cases. Yeah.
I'll double check because after Sydney brought it up, I think I thought about it and I was like, I don't think I've ever seen anyone actually say connected. Right, Sydney? So I am sure I will send you a list.
Yeah, please do. And I did check last time I was speaking with Sydney about it. I feel like it's a week or two ago I sent a response. All of the cases that I've been given so far, which was probably like 6 to 10-ish cases, they were all currently showing as connected. They had been updated in the system. So
And you were seeing it on your system or on like what the family sees? Because like I'm looking on someone right now who's had the same provider for 3 years and it still says provider connection not provided. So not.
okay, yeah, then that's definitely an issue. Yeah, when I look, I have I have access to go in to look at what a user would see on their individual dashboard. So that's what I was checking on. But yeah, please send that case and any others you might have, and we can see what's going on.
Can you message me your email and I'll start a little list for you? Thanks.
Thank you.
Vanessa, I have a question for you. Is it the proposed text? Do you like that better than the one before called policy text?
Oh, yes, because the one up top is super confusing.
Okay, and that's all that you want on the EVRC, right?
Yes, because right now families don't know, when they look in, either it'll show whether they have ERDC or nothing, which means that they don't have it, but they don't know whether they're on the wait list or not, or what their status is on the wait list. So this would help them to do all that good stuff.
Yeah, just to clarify on that a little, George, too, when someone's on the wait list, they have technically had their current application for ERC denied because they don't meet an exemption to the wait list. So it would just show you've been denied for ERDC. And unless they were, had that clearly explained to them by a worker or fully read any notices sent to them, it may not be clear to them why they were denied or the fact that they're actually waiting to be selected to apply for ERDC.
So Andrew, how long will it take for this ERDC to be approved into the system?
So it's a complicated question because I think it involves funding and the amount of funding that we have to fund the program. So currently, I don't think there's any planned time when the waitlist would be deactivated. There was a time back when I was working with ERDC as an eligibility worker that it was deactivated. So it's happened before, but it's been in place for quite a while now. So the way that there's a number of different ways that someone may be exempt from being on that wait list, but not everyone meets those exemptions. So it's kind of hard to put an exact timeline on that. But if someone meets an exemption, it can be approved rather quickly.
Okay, I was just curious. Vanessa's been wanting to get this in there.
Oh, well, this is different. So ERDC is there, but like Andrew's, if you want to apply, if you are not on TANF, TANF, child welfare, baby promise, DV TANF, you're not going to. So everyone there's a lot of families who are technically eligible, but there's no additional funding to bring them onto the program. So they enacted a wait list where basically they're saying, unless someone falls off, you can't come on. Until we have more money, we're not going to bring you on. So families are sitting on a wait list to be asked to reapply to potentially get on the program. But some families don't know. And like April said, there's Baby Promise is an exemption if you are on the wait list. So if families don't know whether they are or asking to come on, in reality, they have no idea what's going on. They applied for it over a year ago and they just think they weren't eligible because like Andrew said, you applied, you could have been eligible, but there was just no funding for you. So they'll just tell you you're denied.
Right. So, Andrew, are we going to be voting on this or what?
Yeah, I think we want to vote on this, but I think we want to make sure that the proposed text is what everybody agrees on. I think that's where we left off this conversation. Because the policy text above is what we had provided to us from policy, which really is kind of just a copy paste of what workers see on the worker side, and all of this is able to be interpreted by workers of what that means. But as I think we pointed out last meeting, most of this would not make sense, and kind of this, in particularly the nuances between the different inactive statuses aren't going to make sense to most people who are just trying to look at like, hey, what's my ERDC situation current?
Okay, so
I would also change invitation to apply ERDC to invitation for like eligibility redetermination, because they've technically already applied for ERDC. They're being asked to resubmit their income. So because in this last week, there's a handful of families that were asked to come off the wait list, and I had to spend half an hour explaining the process. And they were going back to like, but I already applied. I go, yes, you applied, but you're on the wait list. So then why did I get this email? I was like, because you're being asked to resubmit everything again to determine your eligibility. So being very clear that it's invitation to redetermine eligibility, not that you're applying, because then you're gonna go back to, but I already applied.
Great point.
okay, so with that being said, we're going to vote on this. So,
What?
I think we need to talk about Sydney's comment.
oh,
I think Sydney makes a great point. So limiting the proposed text options to on the wait list, invitation to redetermine eligibility, and application received status pending. The less options, the better. The last two options are a bit more confusing and fall into the invitation to apply option. So yeah, so let's talk about that. You missed your chance and you need to reapply. So what that is getting at is someone who had first met the second point, the invitation to redetermine ERDC eligibility. It's a 30-day window, I believe, that they have to act on that once that invitation's been sent. And if they miss that, then they would need to start the process over again. So I guess the question is, do we want to notify people that it would essentially be, they would first see the invitation to redetermine ERDC eligibility, and then after that time had passed, we would be notifying them. We would put this new proposed text. You missed your chance and you need to reapply. I think another option would be to just no longer display a waitlist status for them and just show that their ERDC was denied. And so that that kind of would indicate that they just need to reapply. I don't know if we feel like that makes more sense.
I do agree, because I feel like you missed your chance. It's just gonna open it up for a bigger can of worms.
Okay.
Well, and I don't like the wording that you missed your chance. Like, this is all your fault. We're not taking any responsibility. And it's just too finger pointing to me.
Yeah, that's a great point, Ruth. It's not very person-centered or trauma-informed. It kind of sounds
Right.
so
sorry. If they would have applied after that 30-day invitation, could they still get approved, or would they be like put back in that waitlisted like category?
So yeah, after they missed their invitation period to redetermine their eligibility, they would have to go back through the process and be put back on the wait list.
Oh, so they're taken off of the wait list if they don't reapply at that point.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, this is new to me, so that's interesting.
Yeah, Sydney, I was getting calls from folks like in Klamath. I'm like, that's not even my county, but they were Spanish speakers. So I was like, just put me on speakerphone, walk me in the office, and I'll translate for you, because they were like, I got this email 3 weeks ago. I was like, you better get in there because your clock is a ticking.
Oh,
Yep, and I feel like the intent behind that is to give folks who've been waiting a chance to have their eligibility redetermined. But then if they're not taking action on that, to get somebody else a chance who's on the wait list to apply.
Okay, we have 5 more minutes. So what do we want to do with this?
So yeah, I think the question we need to answer with this is if we want to indicate that in a waitlist status, or if we want to just at that point remove the waitlist status from that person's dashboard and just show that they've been denied. So they would not be seeing this status and just seeing that they're denied, and that they would need to reapply to figure out if they're eligible.
I think it's just whether it's their need to do, there's an action. I think the first 3, I completely agree with. You missed your chance, like remove that. And then if there's no wait list, then there's no need to have that, right? Because there won't be a wait list anyway. So just keeping it to those 3.
Correct. I think, yeah, because if there's no wait list, then anybody can just reapply, and there's no time frame on that. So I agree with that as well.
That cleans it up a lot.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think having all of the different inactive reasons on there is really more of a benefit to workers rather than, someone using the online portal. So we have a yes from April. Any other input or questions, or if we want to move forward with this, just let's do some thumbs up or response in the chat.
Okay. April said yes. Richard, Jude said yes. Vanessa said yes. Steve, yes. I'd say yes.
Yes.
Randy, you said
Yes. I said
Okay, I didn't hear that, sorry. Ingra, what about you?
Indra,
She
there's
has a thumbs up.
Yeah, there's a thumbs up in the chat.
Oh, okay, well then, it's been approved.
Awesome.
So as it stands, 35C, D, and E has been approved, and 59 and 60's been approved, correct?
Today we approved 35 C, D, E, 39 and 50. 59 was already approved and has been submitted.
Okay, and so we're done, and 60's approved. Not approved yet, right, 60?
What was 60 again? I think it might already be approved. I just don't remember it by the number.
No, that was a new item.
We haven't done 60.
Yeah, message
Okay.
center update to show which program a message is referring
On the
to.
notices, yeah. Yeah, so we'll have to get to that one next time, but
Yeah.
super productive meeting today, everybody.
Yeah, I think we're not going to bring up a new topic now. We're at this point. So thank you.
So our
for-
December meeting is still scheduled for the same and then on January, we start the new schedule.
Yes. So our next meeting is December 10th, Tuesday, December 10th. And then our January meeting will be Monday, January 13th.
Mhm.
And
Okay, so we
And
don't,
the time will be, for the new meeting, will it be 10 to 11 or 11 to, 10 to
11 to 1
11 to 1? Got it. Okay.
Pacific time.
so for the
Yes.
record, we have no January 1st meeting.
No,
No,
not
we
that
need,
you're gonna do it by yourself, George.
yeah. For those of you who are part of our prep meeting, yeah, we've got to figure that out. That's
Oh, yeah,
a separate
okay.
conversation.
All right, all right, all right.
No, but George, you do have one on January 2nd.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Oh, happy Thanksgiving, guys. Don't forget that.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, James, can you